Driving Television is brought to you by driving.ca.
This is the third-generation Subaru Impreza. You know, Subaru has really carved out a nice little niche for themselves with their compact Impreza sedans and hatchbacks. They offer buyers a lot of value and peace of mind because they've achieved a strong track record for both reliability and value.
But the one thing that really sets the Impreza apart from the competition is the fact that they're all-wheel drive vehicles and they use horizontally opposed engines. More on that in just a minute.
Now, this is a brand new vehicle from the wheels up. It didn't just get a facelift. Now, speaking of facelifts, we recently had the Subaru Tribeca SUV on, which had a facelift, and we got to say that they really made that vehicle look generic. And this Impreza suffers from the same kind of thing. It doesn't really have any distinctive features to it, which probably will appeal to a mass group of people, but for hardcore Subaru followers, it's probably not that attractive. I got to say, though, that the hatchback does look better than the sedan.
There are 3 levels of trim to choose from in the sedan. This test car is a base model. You can tell from the plastic wheel covers. There are also 3 trim levels available in the 5-door hatchback: Base, Sport, and WRX. The Base and the Sport in the sedan and hatch have the same motor, and the WRX cars have a turbo bolted on. So for this review, we'll not be focusing on the WRX. We'll leave that for another time. For a complete list of specs on the new Impreza, including the WRX, you can go to our website at drivingtelevision.com.
You don't often hear this about a new model, but it's true. The new Impreza is shorter than the old model.
But the wheelbase has been lengthened, so the new Impreza has shorter overhangs and there's a little bit more room to play with on the inside. Now here's something new. The side windows finally have frames. What took them so long?
The trunk is a good size and the back seats fold down, but the trunk isn't flat. There's a rise towards the back of the trunk, which might make it hard to load suitcases.
What Subaru has done with the Impreza is put together a compelling package at a reasonable price. The new 2008 Impreza starts at $20,695, and for that you get front, side, curtain airbags and all-wheel drive as standard equipment, plus available traction control. We need to point out that that's not available on a lot of other cars in this class.
The interior of the old Impreza was stark, and this new version isn't that much better. The rather square center stack is flanked by sweeping lines to the doors, but that isn't enough to give this car any pizzazz. The dash and doors have a hard plastic that I'm not fond of. This is a basic car and it looks the part. I must give credit to Subaru. I do like the soft felt-like seat coverings. Makes me want to pet the Impreza.
The front driver's seat does have height adjustment. The steering wheel tilts, but only telescopes on the WRX model. Air conditioning is standard, as is radio with satellite connectivity, but an MP3 jack isn't offered on the base model, only on higher models. Now, Subaru isn't trying to impress with hands-free phones or Bluetooth. There's no navigation or push-button start. Nope, the Impreza's all about giving you the basics. It kinda goes along with the styling.
But what Subaru does do very well is build capable cars that have unique engineering qualities that really set them apart from the pack.
The first thing is that Subaru uses a horizontally opposed 4-cylinder engine in the new Impreza. Now this is called a boxer design, and it means that the cylinders are actually moving side to side instead of up and down. This is the same engine design that was used in the original Volkswagen Beetle, as well as Porsche cars. This gives the engineers an advantage when they go to place the engine in the car. Because the engine is flatter, it can be placed lower, and that greatly reduces the center of gravity. This new Impreza has the engine even lower than the previous model for better handling and stability. The 2.5-liter 4-cylinder is rated at 170 horsepower, but improvements to this engine have resulted in better mid-range torque, so this new 2008 has full torque at a lower 4,400 RPM. The seats in the Impreza are nice and comfy, there's good outward visibility, and there's lots of space, especially a lot of headroom. And what I really like about driving this vehicle is that with the low center of gravity and all-wheel drive, the driver really feels planted on the road, and it really takes corners quite nicely.
What's surprising is that the automatic is only a 4-speed, and the manual transmission is only a 5-speed, even in WRX trim. And there are other vehicles in this class that are less expensive and have slick 6-speed gearboxes. Kind of seems like an oversight. What is better than the old model is the newly designed suspension system that includes struts up front and a double wishbone setup in the back. Add this to the low center of gravity from the engine, 16-inch wheels, longer wheelbase, and improvements to the chassis, and the new Impreza will impress in the corners. I can't wait to get my hands on the WRX. Most compact sedans in this class offer 130, 40, 50 horsepower. This has 170. It's got a big 4-cylinder, 2.5 liters. That gives you torque. I love torque from light to light. It has lots of pull, which sets this car apart from most of its competitors. Take it out on the highway, it cruises along effortlessly, but I did notice one thing about the engine. You come to a stop, you're sitting at a light, and at idle, I found, maybe it's just this particular test car, that the idle is a little bit lumpy. Once you get going, it disappears.
There are not a lot of all-wheel drive compact cars on the market, so the Impreza really is a standout. But how does it compare as an average everyday compact car? Zach?
Well, you know what? It has a higher starting price, just over $20,000, and a lot of compact cars in this class start in the mid-teens. A little more expensive, but you do get some great stuff like all-wheel drive. You get larger wheels. It's a nice size on the inside. And the pluses with that, well, it really does handle well, and it has a bigger engine at 170 horsepower. That's all good stuff. And the downside, it has to be said, styling. Styling counts for so much in the car industry, and this car is beige, in a sea of beige. It just blends in. Unfortunately, the inside isn't much better. It's really stark as well, and I noticed a bit of engine vibration, especially at lower RPMs. Higher RPMs, not a problem. Disagree or agree?
You know what, Zach? I agree with you on a lot of those points. The interior is very comfortable. There's lots of room. It's got nice handling, and I really like the fact that all-wheel drive is standard equipment. And on the downside, a lot of other cars in the market at this price point have certain options that are available that you can't even get on the Impreza, like the Bluetooth, the nav system, push-button ignition, things like that. And it would have been nice if they offered a 5-speed automatic or a 6-speed manual, especially in that WRX version. Come on, Zach, normally this is the time where you give some smarty pants remark about the car, or me. Does it Impreza you? Are you impressed?
Oh, sorry, I was just nodding off thinking about the styling.
Want to buy a new car but can't decide? Go to driving.ca and do your own research by using the comparison tool.